After she shot me down, I ended up with her mom. Her mom, Sophia Sterling, is a CEO worth billions. And for me, she orchestrated a whole scheme to ship her own daughter overseas. It all started when I confessed my feelings to the campus queen, Sophia Sterling. She rejected me with the lamest excuse in the book. My mom won't let me. My roommate said she was just stringing me along, playing games with my heart. Feeling completely dejected, I went to a dive bar to drown my sorrows, and ended up spending the night with the impossibly elegant Sophia. The next morning, she casually told me she'd take responsibility for me, and made me her legal husband. 2 years later, Chloe came back and found me with her mom wrapped in my arms. Her calmness was terrifying. She pointed at our 1-year-old child and said, "Mom, you seem to be enjoying my things. Are you getting used to them? Mom, you stole my boyfriend, so I'm going to steal your husband." I was sitting by the window at the olive grove, my heart hammering against my ribs like it was trying to escape, tucked under the table with a bouquet of baby's breath. I'd even coordinated with the waiter. As soon as she said yes, he'd bring over the ring I bought, pretending it was a complimentary gift from the restaurant. You have to nail the presentation. That's right. I was about to lay my heart on the line. The object of my affection was our university's campus queen, Sophia Sterling. A few minutes later, she arrived, a vision in a white sundress. She slid into the booth across from me with a playful pout. "Leo, you're so bad. You asked me out and didn't even wait for me." I forced a smile. Wait for her? I'd gotten there an hour early to scope the place out and had run through my confession speech 8 times. Did my meticulous planning mean nothing? I was worried we wouldn't get a table, so I came early to claim our spot, I said, sliding the menu toward her. Dinner was perfect. The vibe was electric. We gossiped about the student government, talked about new club activities, and reminisced about the hiking trip we took last month when the wind destroyed our tent, forcing us to cram into a single hotel room. She took the bed, I took the floor, but sometime in the middle of the night, she rolled right into my arms. We talked about the time she got her period and called me in a panic during a late-night gaming session, sending me on a frantic run to a convenience store for pads. She even casually snatched a half-eaten chicken wing from my plate, complaining that I wasn't doing a good enough job on it. All of these signs pointed to something more than just friendship, right? The way she looked at me, there was definitely something there. Today was a day to finally break through that barrier. The plates were cleared. The wine was low. The mood was just right. I shot to my feet, the chair screeching against the floor from the sudden movement, then dropped to one knee. I held up the carefully chosen bouquet of baby's breath. "Sophia Sterling, I've had feeling for you for a long time. Will you be my girlfriend?" The words I had practiced 100 times came out strong and clear. Her face lit up with the exact look of surprise and delight I had pictured. She covered her mouth, her eyes sparkling. There wasn't a trace of disgust or annoyance. A huge weight lifted off my chest. Nailed it. I was already picturing our life together. But her next word sent me plunging into an icy abyss. "Leo, I really like you too, but my mom is really strict. She won't let me date until I graduate college." The air in the restaurant seemed to freeze. Her mom won't let her? What was this? 1985. We were juniors in college. But the look on her face was so sincere, so pained. Her eyes were rimmed red, as if rejecting me hurt her more than it hurt me. My mind went completely blank. Was this real? Did she actually have a super strict mom, or was she just stringing me along, playing me? I couldn't tell. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the waiter, his hand hovering over the stereo button. I waved my hands frantically, mouthing the word, "Don't." It was mortifying. The confession had failed, and the romantic music died before it even began. I don't remember how the rest of the dinner ended. I walked back to the dorm in a daze, the bouquet in my hand now a symbol of my utter humiliation. Every step felt like I was trampling on my own shattered heart. I felt like a complete and total clown. I pushed open the door to my dorm room like a defeated soldier. The room went dead silent. King, who had been in the middle of a game, Pei, who was scrolling through TikToks, and Chunk, who was gnawing on a drumstick, all 3 of them snapped their heads toward me, their eyes locked on mine, waiting for a verdict. I tossed the bouquet into the trash can. The gesture said it all. It didn't work. King was the first to speak. He took off his headset and spun his gaming chair a full 180 degrees to face me. I didn't say a word, just collapsed into my desk chair. I told you so, King said, slapping his thigh, his voice rising. She's a total user, the queen of playing games. She loves the attention, loves that you do everything for her, but she'll never actually commit. She's just stringing you along. His words were a needle piercing straight through my heart. Pace slid over and put a hand on my shoulder. Leo, man, don't feel bad. Let's break this down. He leaned in. Think about it. She made you leave a gaming session in the middle of the night to go buy her pads. Do normal friends do that? Pei asked, shaking his head. She's treating you like your personal, on-demand delivery service. And when you finally confess, she shuts you down. She's playing you, dude. My head was spinning. Yeah, at the time I thought it was a sign of how close we were, but now, maybe it wasn't right. Chunk spat out a chicken bone and added his 2 cents, speaking like some kind of sage. You guys don't get it, he said. Chloe's a rich girl. What does she want from a guy like Leo? It's not money. It's not status. It's the thrill of it, the sick pleasure of messing with a good guy's emotions, watching you fall all over yourself for her, being at her beck and call. I bet she gets a huge kick out of it. Bro, you're just a fun little distraction in her boring life. The 3 of them went back and forth, painting over all my cherished memories with a disgusting, cynical coat of varnish. That hiking trip, I carried all the supplies while she walked behind me, hands empty. She said I was in good shape, and I believed her. Now I wondered if I was just free labor. The way she'd give me food she couldn't finish, or steal food I was eating. I thought it was intimate. Now, was I just her pet she was feeding? For the first time, my conviction wavered. Were the last 3 years of my life, all the effort I'd put in, really just one big joke? Just then, my phone screen lit up. It was a text from Chloe. Chloe, Leo, please don't overthink it. Everything I said was true. My mom is really, really strict. You have to believe me. Can you just wait for me for 1 more year? As soon as we graduate, we can be together for real. Reading her words, the dying flame in my heart flickered back to life. Maybe she was telling the truth. I was about to reply when Pei, with his eagle eyes, snatched the phone out of my hand and read the messages aloud to the room. Whoa, she's a pro, he exclaimed, slapping my phone down on the desk. This is classic manipulation 101. Smack you down, then give you a little treat to keep you hooked. He pointed at the screen. She gives you this vague promise, so you'll keep being her little backup plan. King scoffed. 1 year? In a year that ship will have sailed. I bet you $100 that when the time comes, she'll just say, sorry, Leo, I'm moving abroad. It's not going to work out. Chunk summed it up in his usual blunt way. The ultimate mind game. It's terrifying. The tiny, pathetic flame in my heart was doused by a tidal wave of ice-cold water. It didn't even hiss. I took my phone back. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I typed a few words, then deleted them. In the end, I sent back a cold, short reply. Yeah, okay, I get it. I hit send. Then I threw myself on my bed and pulled the covers over my head. In the darkness, the humiliation and agony of being played for a fool felt like 2 venomous snakes, tearing my heart to shreds. I clenched my fists. After wallowing in misery for what felt like an eternity, I dragged myself to the Pit Stop Grill and Bar, a familiar dive just off campus. I silently ordered a dozen wings, a basket of loaded fries, and a case of cheap beer. The ice-cold liquid slid down my throat, bitter and sharp, but it couldn't extinguish the fire raging inside me. I was a complete clown. Nearly 3 years of devotion, all for my mom won't let me. I actually laughed out loud. What kind of 21st century joke was this? Chloe Sterling, you were a real piece of work. I picked up a wing and took a vicious bite. The greasy, spicy flavor exploded in my mouth, but I couldn't taste a thing. All I could see was King's smug face in my mind. She's a total user. She's treating you like an on-demand delivery service. You idiot. She gets a sick pleasure out of messing with you. Every word was like a steel nail being hammered into my brain. How had I been so blind? Running out in the middle of the night to buy her pads. I thought we were inseparable. Now I saw it for what it was. I was her 24/7 personal assistant. On our hiking trip, I lugged a 50-pound pack while she strolled behind me taking selfies. I thought I was being considerate of her. Now I realized I was just a free mule. And that night in the hotel room, when she rolled into my arms, I actually believed she was just a restless sleeper. Looking back, was she just testing my boundaries? Seeing how much of a gentleman I'd be, the more I thought about it, the angrier I got, the more humiliated I felt. Another beer bottle was empty. I slammed it down on the sticky table. "Hey, another case over here." I shouted. The noise of the bar seemed to fade into the background. The world started to spin. Just as I was about to pass out face first into a bowl of ketchup, a captivating scent cut through the greasy air like a gentle hand. It was a familiar fragrance, mature, elegant, with a cool, sweet undertone. I struggled to lift my head. A stunningly poised woman had taken a seat on the plastic stool next to me under the dim yellow light of the bar. Her profile was almost unreal. I blinked, trying to focus. It was Sophia Sterling. Maybe it was the alcohol, but she seemed even more beautiful than I remembered. Her sophisticated grace was a world away from Chloe's practiced teenage version of maturity. It was like comparing the heavens to the earth. She just sat there, her presence transforming the loud, grimy dive bar into a high-end private lounge. "Drinking all by yourself? Heartbreak?" Her voice was laced with a kind of gentle teasing only a confident adult possesses, and it brushed against my frayed nerves like a feather. That simple, offhand question was the last straw. All my frustration, my shame, my wounded pride, it all came rushing to the surface. Fueled by booze, I tore down every wall I had built around myself. Heartbreak. My voice came out as a raw, unfamiliar croak. "Sophia, don't ask. Just drink with me." I was a drowning man, and she was the only lifeline in sight. She didn't show the slightest surprise, nor did she lecture me. She just watched me with a gentle expression, her eyes deep and vast as the ocean. Gracefully, she picked up a clean glass, filled it to the brim, and raised it toward me. "All right," she said. "I'll drink with you." I was completely hammered. My head felt like it was about to float away. Looking at the composed, elegant woman across from me, my mind drifted back to my freshman year. I had just finished moving in and was exploring the area around campus when I found myself outside a gated community that screamed old money. A greasy-looking man in a wrinkled suit was harassing a woman. That woman was Sophia. Normally, I would have kept walking. Grown-up problems are messy. But I overheard their conversation. "Sophia, don't be we're divorced. What are you doing here?" "So, we're divorced?" "We were married once, for old time's sake." The man wheezed, forcing a slimy grin. "My company's just a little short on cash flow. Your money is my money, right? Just help me out." I was already pissed off just listening. Did this guy have no shame? Sophia was trembling with anger. "My money? When you were spending my money on your mistress. Did you think about us being married then? Now that your company's going bankrupt, you remember me? Get lost." The man, as if she'd struck a nerve, suddenly lost it. He lunged forward and wrapped his hands around her throat, his face twisted in fury. Are you going to give it to me or not?" Something snapped inside me. All thoughts of caution vanished. A surge of righteous anger took over. I sprinted forward and drove my foot into the small of his back. He stumbled, his grip loosening. I quickly pulled Sophia behind me. "Are you okay?" She rubbed her neck, coughing a few times, a look of surprise flickering in her eyes. "Young man, thank you. I'm fine." The guy scrambled to his feet and pointed a trembling finger at me. "Who the hell are you, kid? You got a death wish? I'm the CEO of Apex Industries. I could crush you." He charged at me. A middle-aged man, bloated and out of shape, was no match for a college student who ran every morning. I took a punch to the face. It stung, but I gave back better than I got. A few kicks to the gut had him curled up on the ground, whimpering, before he finally scrambled away. I remember thinking I might make the local news, maybe even get a medal for civic duty or something. Sophia insisted on taking me to a clinic, saying my face was scraped. I couldn't argue with her, and she ended up dabbing my cheek with antiseptic. To thank me, she treated me to a lavish dinner. But not long after we left the restaurant, her ex-husband reappeared, this time with a couple of thugs, cornering us in an alley. Great, I thought. Now I'm really going to get beaten to a pulp. I was bracing myself to fight when Sophia pulled me back. There wasn't a hint of fear on her face. She even smiled at me. I wasn't prepared earlier, she joked. I'll let you have your hero moment. Now it's my turn to protect you, kid. As soon as the words left her mouth, a black SUV screeched to a halt nearby. Two massive guys in black suits got out. They looked like they'd walked straight out of a movie. In less than a minute, they had the thugs and her ex-husband pinned to the ground. I was stunned. So this was how the other half lived. Simple, unadorned, and brutally efficient. I discreetly called the cops from behind her. By the time we finished giving our statement to the police station, it was already dark. Before we parted ways, we exchanged numbers. My thoughts snapped back to the present. The woman in front of me, Sophia, was watching me with an unreadable expression. It was a look of concern, of pity, and something else. The smoke and noise of the dive bar seemed to exist outside an invisible bubble she had created. My world had shrunk to just her, the table, and the mountain of empty beer bottles between us. So, it was because of that young girl, she asked softly. Her voice had a magical quality, cutting through the alcoholic fog in my brain. I nodded, then shook my head. My tongue felt thick and clumsy. Nah, not just that. I'm just a clown. Ha, clown. I grabbed a greasy glass and chugged the rest of my beer. My roommate's words buzzed in my ears like a swarm of flies. Personal assistant. Backup plan. She's just playing you. I spewed these words at Sophia, a jumbled mess mixed with a reek of beer. I expected her to lecture me like an elder, to say something like, young people shouldn't be so impulsive. But she didn't. She just listened quietly. When I was done, she picked up a bottle and gracefully refilled my glass. They might have a point, she said. I froze. But they don't understand, she continued, looking me straight in the eye. They don't understand how much you invested or how serious you were. So their opinions are worthless. Her words were a warm current washing over my frozen heart. Yeah, what the hell did they know? All they did was talk trash from the sidelines, pushing me deeper into despair. But Sophia, the woman sitting in front of me, she seemed to truly understand. A girl who really likes you, she said, her voice soft but every word landing with incredible weight, would never be able to stand seeing you in so much pain. I felt a stinging in my eyes. 3 years of my life, dismissed by Chloe with a careless, my mom won't let me. My roommates labeled me a joke. And now, here I was, sitting across from a woman I'd only met a handful of times, and she was giving me the validation I'd been craving for years. The irony hit so deep it almost felt funny, if it didn't hurt so much. The alcohol finally hit me full force. The world spun around me, and in that dizzying chaos, Sophia's face was the only thing that stayed still. Her perfume filled the air, delicate and intoxicating, cutting through the heavy smell of grease and stale beer. Let's go. It's too loud in here, I heard her say. I don't want to go back to the dorm, I mumbled, sounding like a scolded child. She laughed softly, not mocking, but tender, almost indulgent. Then why don't you come over to my place for a bit? I'll make you something to help with the hangover. I don't remember agreeing. I only remember the feeling of her soft hands helping me to my feet, then being inside a car more comfortable than my dorm bed, and then a house so big it felt like a museum. The air was thick with her scent, so mesmerizing it made me want to close my eyes and never wake up again. She laid me down on a bed so soft it felt like I was sinking into clouds. I was useless, a puddle of a man. The last thing I remember was her leaning over me, wiping my face with a warm towel. Then, in the darkness, a soft, warm body pressed against mine. It carried that same intoxicating scent of wine, and the unmistakable warmth of a mature woman. In that haze, the last thread of my sanity snapped. All the frustration, the humiliation, the anger of being played, and 3 years of pent-up desire found their escape. With one impulsive movement, I rolled over and pinned that warm, fragrant body beneath me. The next thing I knew, pain exploded in my head. Sunlight pierced through a gap in the curtains, stabbing my eyes. The ceiling above me was unfamiliar, decorated with ornate patterns I didn't recognize. The air smelled sweet and expensive. When I tried to move, my limbs felt heavy, drained of energy. And then I froze. Beneath my arm, warm, smooth skin, there was someone lying next to me, a woman. Fragments of the night before came flooding back in jagged flashes. The greasy bar, Sophia's beautiful face under the dim lights, her perfume, and that moment, that single moment when I lost control. I slept with Sophia. My blood turned to ice. A chill spread from my scalp down to my toes. Fear, regret, and somewhere deep down, an illicit thrill I didn't dare acknowledge. My mind went completely blank. I was a thief caught in the act, too terrified to move. Then the body beside me stirred. My heart nearly stopped. She was waking up. This was it. Would she scream? Slap me? Call the police? I squeezed my eyes shut, bracing for the worst. But nothing happened. No yelling. No anger. Instead, I heard a soft, lazy hum. I peeked through one eye. Sophia Sterling was looking at me, calmly. No fury. No shame. Not even surprise. Her expression was that of someone looking at a child refusing to get out of bed, gentle, composed, and in complete control. You awake? She asked, her voice husky with sleep. My brain refused to function. I couldn't form a single word. Seeing my panicked expression, she smiled slightly. Then she said something that shattered everything I thought I knew about the world. It's okay, she said softly. Since it happened, I'll take responsibility for you. Responsibility. Was I dreaming? She laughed at my dumbfounded face and slowly sat up. The black silk nightgown slipped from her shoulder, revealing a breathtaking curve of skin. She didn't flinch or blush. Her eyes glowed with confidence and quiet dominance. It's not a bad deal for you, she said with that same composed tone. I'm wealthy. I can take care of you. Besides, I just turned 34. I'm still in my prime, and I'm not bad to look at. Better than some 20-year-old girl, right? Every word hit like a bomb. Direct, bold, unapologetic. She was completely rewriting my understanding of the world, of women, of everything. I stared at her, my throat dry. Chloe had strung me along for years, dangling promises of wait for me while breaking my heart. And Sophia, at my absolute lowest, looked me in the eye and said, I'll take care of you. This world was insane. Seeing that I was still dazed from the emotional overload, Sophia changed her tone, her voice turning softer. All right, let's not think about that for now. She reached out and gently brushed the hair from my forehead. Tell me about the girl who broke your heart. How exactly did she reject you? Her touch pulled me back to reality. The conversation circled back to my humiliation, but somehow it felt different this time. Under her calm, confident presence, my thoughts started to settle. The last of my defenses fell away. I guess you can't even call it a breakup, I said with a bitter laugh. I confess, and she just shut me down. The reason was really weird. I looked at her, searching for an explanation she might have. I really thought she liked me too. Our relationship, it was right on the edge, you know? We just needed to take that final step. But when I confessed, she said her mom was super strict and wouldn't let her date until after graduation. As I said it out loud, it hit me how ridiculous it sounded. Even a 3-year-old would laugh at that excuse. Sophia chuckled, but then her smile faded. The amusement in her eyes turned into something colder, a mix of contempt and sympathy. That's a classic user move, she blurted out, her voice edged with anger. That excuse is obviously fake. She was clearly just playing with your emotions. What does she take you for? Her personal beck and call boy? Good riddance. You're better off without a girl like that. Her words hit like a sledgehammer, shattering the last pathetic fragments of hope I still had for Chloe. But at the same time, they were like a shot of adrenaline, transforming me from a fool who'd been played into someone wronged, someone deserving of sympathy. From now on, you'll be with me, she said, reaching out to gently pat my cheek. I'll be good to you. Warmth spread through my chest. My nose stung. I didn't even realize how close I was to tears. But what I didn't notice was that, right after calling Chloe a user, something flickered across Sophia's face. Her expression froze for a second, something strange passing through her eyes. Not letting her daughter date in college. Why did that sound so familiar? A bizarre, ominous premonition began to form in her mind, but she quickly pushed it down and asked casually, "You've been talking about this girl for a while, but you never told me. What university do you two go to?" At that moment, my head was still full of a promise to be good to me. I wasn't thinking straight at all. Northwood, I answered automatically. We go to the same school. The instant those words left my mouth, the air around us froze. Sophia's expression went completely still. Northwood University, the same school as her daughter, and that very unique rule, not letting her date until graduation. I saw her lips part, as if she was about to say something that would blow my entire world apart. But before she could, my eyes caught the phone on the nightstand. The screen lit up with the time. 10 a.m. Holy crap. I had a class with the most terrifying professor on campus at 10:30, the kind of professor who'd fail you for being 1 minute late. Crap, crap, crap. I shot up from the bed like a lightning bolt. All thoughts of romance, heartbreak, and awkward family revelations evaporated in the face of the greatest fear known to man, failing class. "Sophia, I'm gonna be late for class. I have to go." I scrambled to throw on my wrinkled clothes, nearly putting my shoes on the wrong feet. I didn't even care. I bolted out of that massive house like a hurricane, leaving Sophia sitting alone on the messy bed, completely stunned, her world turned upside down. I ran back to campus like a fugitive, my mind a chaotic mess. On one hand, there was the insanity of last night and Sophia's promise to take responsibility for me. On the other, there was the cold, merciless face of my professor, famous for his 99% fail rate. I barely survived the class. As soon as it ended, my phone buzzed. A message from Sophia. "Come over tonight. I'll make you a nice dinner to help you relax." I stared at the message, and as if possessed, typed back a single word. "Okay." That evening, I found myself standing once again inside that enormous villa. The air was filled with that same intoxicating scent of haze. Sophia was in the kitchen, dressed casually in a silk lounge dress. When she saw me, she smiled warmly. "Come on in," she said. "Have some soup first." I ate dinner in days. Afterwards, she led me to the plush sofa in the living room and poured me a glass of red wine. Then, as if she were telling a light-hearted story about someone else, she began, "I have to tell you something, and you can't laugh. Right after you left this morning, my silly daughter came home. You two haven't even met yet, have you?" She paused, a playful smile tugging at her lips. She walked in with this long face and ran straight to me. Then, imitating Chloe's voice perfectly, Sophia continued, "Mom, I rejected him yesterday. I did what you said, but I feel so awful. Do you think I did the right thing?" My heart dropped. But Sophia went on, still acting like the gentle, composed mother. "I had to keep up the act," she said, her eyes gleaming with amusement. I asked her, "Sweetheart, tell Mommy the name of this boy you like so much." She paused dramatically, then leaned in close to my ear and whispered 2 words, "Leo Miller." Boom! It felt like the top of my head had just exploded. What kind of absurd, melodramatic plot twist was this? The girl I'd fallen in love with was now my stepdaughter, and her mother, my potential mother-in-law, was now the woman I'd slept with. I stared at Sophia, completely speechless. Her expression was one of playful triumph, like a queen revealing her winning move. She took a delicate sip of wine and continued calmly. "My first thought was, how dare you have a crush on my man," she said with a teasing smile. But of course, I didn't let that show. I hugged her and said in my sweetest, most motherly voice, "Don't be sad, sweetie. Mommy will help you check him out." Oh my God, I breathed. My brain could only form those 3 words. "I told her," Sophia went on, "that I would become a guest professor at your university under the guise of an entrepreneur in residence program and start a special project group." Her eyes sparkled with satisfaction. "That way, I could observe you up close. See what kind of person you really are. Find out whether your feelings for her were genuine. My jaw was practically on the floor. Her plan wasn't just clever, it was next-level strategic warfare. She smiled proudly. My silly daughter's eyes lit up. She thought her mom was the best mom in the entire world. Then, she said with a smirk, I gave her my second condition. I told her, during this observation period, to make sure my judgment isn't biased, and for the sake of your future, you should study abroad for a while. I've already arranged everything with a top university. If he passes the test, she told her daughter, you can come back, and I'll give you my blessing to marry him in style. But if he doesn't, you'll already be overseas, having a great time and forgetting all about this loser. I was completely stunned. She had outplayed everyone. It was a perfect, multi-pronged strategy, a masterstroke. It gave her a legitimate reason to be close to me, removed the only obstacle in her way, and made her look like a saint in her daughter's eyes. This woman, was she the devil? And then what? I asked, my voice trembling. Sophia smiled, a sly, cat-that-got-the-cream kind of grin. Then my silly daughter hugged me, cried her eyes out, and kept saying, Thank you, Mommy. You're the best mommy ever. I nearly spat out my wine. I had to set my glass down just as Sophia slid into my lap. I did it all for us, she purred, her tone playful but laced with something deeper. You're not going to back out on your responsibilities, are you? Her words dripped like honey, sweet but dangerous. Besides, she added, snuggling against me, I never actually forbade her from having a boyfriend. She tilted her head and whispered, Now, you belong only to me. Sophia's execution was terrifyingly efficient. 3 days. That's all it took. Her picture appeared on the homepage of Northwood University's website, a warm welcome to renowned entrepreneur and distinguished alumna, Ms. Sophia Sterling, as our new guest professor. Below the announcement was the launch of the Sterling Star Project Initiative. I stared at my phone, my palms sweating. She was actually doing it. On the first day of the project, the lecture hall was packed. Everyone wanted to catch a glimpse of the stunning CEO-turned-professor and find out who'd be lucky enough to join her team. Sophia stood at the podium in a tailored white pantsuit, radiating power. After a brief introduction, her eyes scanned the crowd and finally landed directly on me. The management of this project will be handled by Leo Miller from the computer science department, she announced. All of my directives will be communicated through him. The hall went dead silent. Then came a wave of whispers. I could feel hundreds of eyes on me, pinning me to my seat like spotlights, envy, jealousy, and a healthy dose of contempt swirling in the air. What the hell? Who's this guy? How'd he get that? Never heard of him. Must have connections. Probably a boy toy. The guy next to me nudged my elbow. Dude, what did you give Professor Sterling? Teach me your ways. I wanted to crawl under my chair and die. The days that followed taught me the true meaning of public humiliation. During one project meeting, a senior student was passionately presenting his PowerPoint when Sophia suddenly turned to me and whispered, loud enough for the whole table to hear, Leo, what do you want for dinner tonight? I'll make it for you. The room, already quiet, went dead silent. I wanted to bury my head in the table. Another time, I accidentally spilled coffee all over her project proposal. The entire team gasped. Just weeks earlier, a girl had made a single data error in her report, and Sophia had berated her until she cried. Everyone waited for my execution, but Sophia didn't even glance at the ruined document. Instead, she grabbed my hand, frantically turning it over. Did you burn yourself? The multi-million-dollar proposal lay on the table, stained brown with coffee, but all she cared about was my hand. She even talked about our secrets in public. Leo, you're still so ticklish, aren't you? She teased once during a meeting. Oh, and I forgot to tell the delivery service no cilantro on your order the other day. You barely ate anything, didn't you? Her comments were like tiny, well-placed knives, each one carving a deeper gap between me and everyone else. At first, I was mortified. Then, I started to get used to it, even started to enjoy it. So this was what it felt like to be protected by a powerful woman. The shame of being a kept man? No, this was a victor's trophy. By day, she was a revered professor. the queen of the campus. By night, she'd find any excuse to keep me at her villa. There, she would shed her formidable armor, slip into a silk nightgown, and cook for me. The contrast was intoxicating. I fell for her completely. I gradually let go of the idea that I was the younger man or the sponsored one. One evening, she leaned against me as usual, asking me to rub her shoulders. "Leo, was the day at school tiring?" She purred like a lazy cat. I stopped massaging, flipped us over, and pinned her to the sofa. A flicker of surprise crossed her eyes, but it was quickly replaced by a smile. I leaned close to her ear and whispered, "Professor Sterling, it's after hours now. It's my turn to evaluate you." My junior year began a new, almost surreal chapter of my life. Officially, my title was executive assistant to the CEO. In reality, I was the most expensive piece of decoration in Sophia's office. My daily routine? Lounging on a genuine leather sofa, basking in the perfectly calibrated 75 degrees air conditioning, watching the corporate elites outside run themselves ragged for their six-figure salaries. Sometimes, I even felt pity for them. All I had to do was hand Sophia a cup of premium green tea when she got tired of signing documents, or chat with her about campus gossip during breaks in her video calls. The saying, "a secretary works for the boss," unless there's no work, then the boss works as secretary, had never been more accurate. One afternoon, I was sprawled on the sofa, deep into a mobile game, when Sophia suddenly looked up from a stack of files. "Leo, that condo development I mentioned last week, I bought you a unit. It's in your name." My hand slipped. My character ran straight into the enemy team and died instantly. I just stared at her. She'd already gone back to her documents, as if she'd merely commented on the weather. At that moment, a flood of memories hit me. Those 2 months I'd spent eating nothing but instant ramen just to afford a birthday gift for Chloe. I was such an idiot. I lunged forward, wrapping my arms around Sophia from behind and burying my face in her fragrant hair. "Honey," I whispered, grinning against her neck, "being a kept man is the best." She laughed, her body trembling in my arms. The feeling was better than getting a pentakill in my game. Sophia's way of spoiling me was simple, direct, and brutally effective. One night, we were flipping through a magazine on the sofa when I pointed to a lime green Lamborghini. "That color is insane," I said offhandedly. The next day, when I got to the office, a car key with the Bull logo was sitting on my desk. Underneath it was a note, "Your new toy. Like it?" In that moment, my entire understanding of money was rewritten. My phone buzzed. It was a message from Chloe. "How are you doing over there? Is the project going well?" I looked at the words, feeling like I was reading a telegram from another century. I glanced up at Sophia, who was currently dominating a video conference call, tearing apart a group of foreign executives in fluent English. She caught my eye and gave me a playful wink, a fond smile playing on her lips. I turned off the screen and tossed the phone aside. What was I supposed to say? That I was doing great? So great that I had lost all ambition? There was no point. On the first day of my senior year, the expected call from Chloe came through. Sophia deliberately put it on speakerphone, holding a finger to her lips in a shush gesture. Her beautiful eyes sparkled with mischievous delight. "Mommy, how's the evaluation going? Is he a good person?" Chloe's voice on the other end was filled with nervous anticipation. I felt nothing listening to it, except a faint urge to laugh. Sophia's expression changed in an instant. She sighed, her voice dripping with disappointment and pain. It was so convincing that even I almost fell for it. "Sweetheart, I don't know how to tell you this," she began softly. "That boy is not the one." The line went silent. Sophia looked at me, mouthing the word before continuing. He's too arrogant. He thinks he can get by on his good looks. He's been flirting with several girls in the project group. I saw him with my own eyes accepting homemade cookies from that girl in the art department. He even patted her on the head. "No, that's impossible. Mom, are you sure you saw that, right? Leo's not like that." Chloe's voice was on the verge of tears. "Sweetheart, why would I lie to you?" Sophia's voice was now filled with even more anguish. "He also uses his position to make other students do his work while he skips out to have fun. That kind of man has no sense of responsibility, no integrity. He is not good enough for my baby girl. Every word was a knife twisting in Chloe's heart, and every word was a drug sending a thrill of excitement through my veins. This woman was truly a devil. From the other end of the line, we could hear suppressed, heartbroken sobs. "Listen to me, sweetheart," Sophia cooed before hanging up. "Just go abroad after graduation. Forget about this loser. Mommy will find someone much better for you." She tossed the phone aside, the look of anguish on her face instantly replaced by a triumphant grin. She wrapped her arms around my neck. "Now," she whispered, "you are completely and utterly mine." I leaned down and kissed her. Guilt. That's all I knew, that this was a consequence of the choices we had all made. On graduation day, I stood in the crowd in my cap and gown, looking around like an idiot. The truth was, I didn't need to look for a job. As the executive assistant to the CEO of Sterling Corp., my life had already shifted into early retirement mode. Everyone at the company knew the score. They treated me with more deference than they showed the vice presidents. I was the open secret, the most prized possession in the CEO's office. Just as I was about to go find Sophia, a familiar yet distant figure blocked my path. Chloe Sterling. She looked thinner. Her eyes were red and puffy, and she was glaring at me with an intensity that suggested I had personally desecrated her ancestors' graves. "Leo, you absolute bastard," she spat, her tone as predictable as ever. "Why didn't you wait for me?" I almost laughed. "My mom told me you were messing around with other girls at school, and I didn't believe her," she shouted, her face a mask of disappointment and betrayal, a performance worthy of an Oscar. "Why did you have to find someone else so quickly?" I looked at her and found the whole situation laughable. She had played me for a fool, and now she was acting like the victim of a great tragedy. "Sorry," I said, my voice calm, as if I were discussing the weather. "But you were the one who rejected me. And that ridiculously unbelievable excuse you gave me, why should I have believed it?" The color drained from her face, but I pressed on. "Why should I have wasted my youth waiting for a vague promise you could have broken at any time? Chloe, do you really think you're that important?" My words hit her like a slap across the face. She had probably never imagined I would speak to her like that. Tears welled up in her eyes, but they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of humiliation. She still thought I was the same pathetic guy who'd follow her around like a puppy. Too bad for her. I'd been completely reshaped by a wealthy, powerful woman. Her lips trembled, but no words came out. Finally, she turned and ran, choking back sobs. Watching her go, I felt nothing. If anything, I was a little grateful. If she hadn't kicked me to the curb back then, I never would have landed on my feet so spectacularly. That ridiculous chapter of my life was finally officially closed. Chloe's flight was scheduled to depart at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, headed to a country I would never visit. At 1 o'clock, I had just received my diploma from the university president. The red leather cover felt warm in my hands. A black Bentley was parked by the main gate, its presence both understated and ostentatious. Sophia was leaning against the car door, wearing a stunning red dress that was even more brilliant than the diploma in my hand. She took the certificate from me and casually tossed it onto the passenger seat. Then she took my hand and pulled me into the car. "Where are we going?" I asked. She started the engine and gave me a smile that could topple nations. "City Hall," she said. My mind went blank. No proposal, no flowers, no hesitation. I went from a fresh graduate to a married man in less than 3 hours. When we walked out of City Hall, I was holding a marriage certificate. Looking at Sophia, her smile brighter than ever, I still felt like I was in a daze. 3 hours ago, I was a graduate with an uncertain future. Now, I was a legal husband of a billionaire CEO. She had taken my life and rearranged it in the most domineering, illogical way possible. Former campus heartthrob? No, I was now a bona fide trophy husband. And the feeling, damn, it was good. After getting the license, Sophia was more eager than I was. She insisted we visit my parents immediately. I looked at the mountain of gifts piled in the trunk and felt my eyes twitch. From top-shelf Pappy Van Winkle bourbon to luxury bird's nest soup, and several watches from brands I couldn't even pronounce. This wasn't a family visit. It was a royal tribute. I was nervous. Isn't this a little much? Sophia straightened my collar, her smile calm and serene. "First time meeting the in-laws," she said. "We have to make a good impression. It's about showing respect." Fair enough, whatever my wife said. When we pulled up to my parents' house, they were already waiting outside. The look on their faces when they saw Sophia step out of the driver's seat of the Bentley was priceless. Shock, confusion, and then intense scrutiny. My dad's mouth hung open. My mom's eyes scanned Sophia like x-rays trying to see right through her. The atmosphere at the dinner table was awkward, to say the least. My parents stared at their new daughter-in-law, a woman a decade older than me but as beautiful as a movie star, and they couldn't seem to find the right words. Sophia broke the silence first. She raised her glass, her posture both elegant and humble. "Dad, Mom," she said warmly, "a toast to you both. Thank you for raising Leo. I promise I'll take good care of him." My dad finally snapped out of his trance and fumbled for his own glass. My mom just gave a tight lip smile and a nod. My dad cleared his throat, trying to sound like the patriarch of the house. Sophia, what do you do for work?" Sophia smiled politely. "I run a small company, just enough to get by." I almost choked on my food. A net worth in the billions was just enough to get by. Just then, my dad suddenly set his chopsticks down. He stared at Sophia, his brow furrowed in deep concentration. He looked like he'd been constipated for 3 days. "Dad, what's wrong?" I asked. He ignored me. He pointed a trembling finger at Sophia, his voice filled with disbelief and awe. Were you in the class of 2012 at Northwood University, Section 304? Sophia looked surprised, but didn't deny it. My dad slammed his hand on the table, his face flushing with excitement. "It is you, Sophia Sterling, the Sophia Sterling." His voice was loud enough to shake the house. "Oh my God, I was in that class too. Every guy in our major had a crush on you. You were the goddess of our entire department." I was completely floored. What was even happening? My dad turned to me, his eyes shining with a mix of pride, disbelief, and pure joy. He threw an arm around my shoulder, squeezing hard enough to crack a rib. "My boy, you did it. You made your old man proud." He roared. "The goddess of our generation, the one none of us could even dream of getting close to. My son actually married her." "Ha! My son's better than me." Watching my dad's manic celebration, my mom's face darkened instantly. She reached over, grabbed his ear, and twisted hard. "Spill it," she hissed. "Admit it. You had a crush on her back then, didn't you?" My dad's laughter died in his throat, replaced by a pained yelp. "No, absolutely not." He squeaked. "A loser like me wouldn't dare. I only admired her from afar. Honey, I swear, you're the only one for me." Watching this chaotic scene unfold, I had a sudden realization. This trophy husband life was totally worth it. I was bringing honor to the family. 2 years later, our daughter was born. We nicknamed her Nugget because as a baby, her cheeks were as round and cute as a little chicken nugget. By then, Sophia had already confessed all her schemes to me. What could I do? We had a child together. It wasn't like I could hold a grudge now and tear our family apart. Besides, life was just too sweet to invite unnecessary drama. Whenever Chloe came home from abroad for the holidays, I would discreetly take Nugget to my parents' house, under the guise of giving the grandparents some quality time. But now, Chloe had officially graduated and was back for good. I knew there was no more hiding. The final judgment day had arrived. Nugget was toddling around on the living room carpet, babbling happily at her toys. I held the stunning Sophia in my arms and couldn't resist teasing her. "You're a crafty one, you know that? Stealing your own daughter's boyfriend. You actually pulled it off." Sophia snuggled closer, humming defiantly. "I didn't steal him. Technically, I knew you first. Besides, you're the one who came to me. I was first in line." Creak. The bedroom door swung open. Chloe stood in the doorway. Her makeup was flawless, her designer outfit immaculate, but her eyes were cold as Siberian winter. She just stood there, watching us, watching me, holding her mother, watching the little girl on the floor, who should have been her little sister, but was now her niece. I thought she would scream, break down, maybe even become hysterical. But she didn't. She was unnervingly calm. So calm, it was terrifying. She even managed a cold, mocking smile. "Did you think I was going to lose my mind?" she said softly. No. I figured it out months ago, the last time I was home." She glanced around the room like a queen surveying her territory. "The men's slippers by the door. The shaving kit in the study. That's not my mother's style. And my dearest mommy," her lip curled in disgust. "That sickeningly sweet smell of love that you can't seem to wash off." Her gaze landed on me, obsessive, twisted. It was as if I was a long-lost toy, finally returned, but now sullied. "Leo," she whispered, "you were supposed to be mine." Then she turned to her mother. "Mommy dear, you really are the best mother a girl could ask for," she said, her tone dripping with venom. "Using my things. Are you getting used to them?" She gave a cruel, mirthless smile. "But don't worry. Since you love playing these little games so much, from now on, I'll play along." Her final line came out like a curse. "Just wait for the divorce papers. And you'd better pray that your pathetic little love story is strong enough to last." With that, she turned and walked away. The sound of her high heels clicking against the hardwood floor echoed, then faded into the distance. I could feel Sophia's body trembling slightly in my arms. I pulled her closer, holding her tight. "I know you lied to me back then," I said quietly. Her body went rigid. I looked her in the eyes. "You did tell her she wasn't allowed to date in college, didn't you?" She didn't speak. She just bit her lip and looked away. I smiled faintly. But what does it matter? It was perfectly normal for the 18-year-old me to like the 18-year-old her. But the 18-year-old her wanted a 25-year-old me, someone who would wait around until she had her life figured out. Something she didn't have the courage to do herself. The funny thing is, when I actually turned 25, I realized something. I leaned down and kissed her. I realized, I murmured, that the 34-year-old you is infinitely more interesting. She wasn't wrong. I wasn't wrong. And you weren't wrong. We all just chose the path that was best for ourselves. It just so happens that my path led to